Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another Monday. It's Bill Jager with Bill Jager Insurance and Colorado Insurance. Just wanted to go through a couple of things on landlord policies this week. It's something that comes up quite often, actually, and I wanted to just address a couple of different questions on what the differences are on regular homeowners policies versus landlord policies, and make sure everybody is clear on what those differences are, how they can be different, how they can change, and how you can maybe use some of this knowledge to help talk with clients. If you know anything about, I guess when you think of landlord, what do you think of, or who do you think of? This is from a '70s show. A show back in the '70s called Three's Company, or maybe it was in the '80s too. I don't remember how far it went, but Three's Company was the name of this show. This is Mr. Roper. He was the landlord in that sitcom. It was quite a show. It was a great one back then. But I'm showing you how old I am too. So we'll move on. Okay. Next, so here's the easiest way that I can maybe just show this to you in picture format so that you can take a snapshot, or you certainly can contact me for this kind of information just to help compare. But we'll just go down this quickly from the different types of coverages A through F. You've got homeowners on the left side. You got rental dwelling, or DP3, on the right. And what you'll see is there's a lot of similarities, and the differences really are more in this personal property and liability kinds of coverages that are different from homeowners to a rental. But as far as the building is concerned, obviously the structure and all that are attached at your home, those are covered. Same as same as on the DP3, you'll see the structure and everything attached are included. Other structures, however, something that's detached, or possibly even there are a lot of times where you see detached garages, fences, those sort of things. Depends on how they're classified with each company. Some may not be included, but you can add those. Okay, so you can add that type of coverage if you're a landlord. Then we go down to personal property, coverage C. Items in the home, and when it travels with you up to a small limit, personal property is going to be covered. When you go over to rental houses or rental units, as a landlord, they're not included, but they can be added. Okay, tenants should have, and as the actual tenants in those, units, they should have their own renter's policy, and it is becoming more and more common. In order to even rent a place now, you have to prove that you've got renter's insurance. It's not expensive. It's actually, maybe $100 or $200 a year, but it's something that that renters need to be aware of, that can cover not only their personal property, but also it does give them some liability coverage, which is good for maybe young kids, or anybody that's renting a property. Okay. The loss of use in a house, if you're aware, it's something happens to the house, the during that time when you're having the house rebuilt, you have coverage to actually pay for a hotel or another house that you've been renting, so that you can essentially wait for the house to be rebuilt. That's loss of use. Okay, but over on the rent side, it's called loss of rents. It helps you recover the loss of rents while that structure is being rebuilt. And as landlord, that's a pretty important coverage, but they sort of act the same. Okay. Personal liability If you are, again, if you're served for something that you did unintentionally, maybe somebody falls on the sidewalk that's got a huge crack in it, or it's icy, and you as the homeowner are uh, are sued for something like that, your personal liability coverage it basically kicks in. On the rental side, that's sometimes not included, and you'll have to add that coverage. What I've seen is most of the time that it actually is covered. Most of these companies have it built in. But the DP3, the DP3 coverage, you just want to make sure that that is something that is included, because it could be the most substantial, you know, damage or financial hit that somebody could take. Um, Here it says at least $1 million in liability. Typically if you get into multiple units, that's probably going to be true. If you're talking about one unit, maybe not, but it's still important to have liability coverage there. If it is part of a bigger portfolio, part of something that's greater, we'll see a lot of folks that have multiple units, or even one, extra one, just have a lot of this type of coverage covered in an umbrella policy. So over and above the liability that's in that policy, you would have an umbrella, which can start at $1 million and go up from there. And then finally, medical payments. If a guest sustains an injury on your property, this helps that person. You know, let's just say like somebody cuts their finger working in the kitchen. You actually have coverage to help that person get back to whole, by going to the hospital or whatever is that they have to do. Um, if you're talking about rental properties, that's not included. And, as it says here, you can ask to possibly extend your own homeowner's policy to include coverage for that on rental properties. So, this is where it kind of gets interesting, because that's, you're talking about kind of using your homeowner's policy to come over here and work with this rental property. So it's possible, and we can certainly answer lots of different questions that you might have, or if you have a client that has questions, just know that these are differences and that homeowners policies don't work for something that somebody's going to rent. Okay, and this is homes, condos, apartments, all kinds of differences. As soon as somebody becomes a landlord, they come over here. Okay, and that's it. So feel free to subscribe to this channel. It's actually a channel now. You can like it, and you can certainly share it if it's going to help somebody that you know. And I appreciate it very much. Have a great week. We'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.